This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki and all energy work, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, I refer to myself as a guide rather than host, as I too am traveling, learning, and supporting others on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy Seawright, and this is Ready, Set, Reiki. Hello, everyone. Hello, Reiki family. Reiki blessings to you, one and all. Another amazing, wonderful adventure for us. Here, I'd like to invite you, before we begin, to talk to you about the Reiki Business Collective. Here is a place for sharing, supporting, and serving. But don't let that business name fool you. No matter where you are on your journey, you are always welcome here. Christian Stone does an amazing job as he helps lift all of us up. So maybe you need a little bit of courage. Maybe you need a little bit of confidence. Maybe you need to be shown a direction where to go. This is the place. It costs $0 to be a part of this space group. So check it out, Reiki Business Collective. I also want to tell you about the ICRT. This is the International Center of Reiki Retreat. It is the 31st annual one every year. And here, September 4th to the 7th, 2026. Check it out. It has a whole weekend in Sedona, Arizona. If you sign up, you get a crystal bowl or your choice of a meditation. A wonderful place to land and be in community with others. I will be there this year as well. So check it out. International Center, ICRT, International Reiki Retreat. Well, today is a special day because I have someone who's going to be my co-guide today. It is my mentor. I'm so excited she is here. She just finished the Reiki Business Collective and all the magical and wonderful things. And it makes sense each time I meet with her why the two of us were paired up, right? And so let's give a Ready, Set, Reiki welcome to my mentor, Karen.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here, Tracy. This is really, really, really fun. Every time I spend time with you, it's just the energy just increases. So I'm excited to interview your guest with you.
I know. And so tell the listeners a little bit about you.
So I am a senior licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training. I own Reiki Institute, which is based in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, but I live in the Andes Mountains of Ecuador. So I try to get back to the States about once a year, but I do all of my sessions online and I teach online. So that is, I guess, pretty much me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we have a very special guest. We got to know her during the Reiki Business Collective. And so the two of you hit it off. I thought, how perfect bringing her in here. So let's introduce her. So it's Ren Oberhill. Now, she is a licensed counselor, energy practitioner with over 18 years experience walking alongside individuals through healing and life transitions. She is so deeply passionate about supporting both people and animals, creating intentional spaces where clients can slow down, reconnect, and listen to their inner wisdom. Now her work centers around holistic clarity sessions, which blends Reiki, hypnotherapy, body-based awareness, and intuitive practice. Now her approach is guided into safe autonomy and attunement, and allowing each student to unfold at a pace that honors their client's nervous system and spirit. Through Reiki, she supports deep relaxation, emotional clarity, and a reconnection to one's inner knowing. Now, she has been studying and practicing Azui Energetic Reiki for over 3 years and an Animal Reiki certified through the International Center of Reiki Training, or other ICRT, and she continues to deepen her practice through ongoing education and devotion to her craft. So let's give a warm Ready, Set, Reiki welcome to Ren. Hey, Reiki hands. Welcome, Ren, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. So I told our listeners a little bit about you, but I know there's so much more. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So glad to be here.
Tell us about yourself, Ren.
Yeah, so I was a very, very sensitive child and spent a lot of time. So I was a very sensitive child and I spent a lot of time outdoors with the animals and in the forest. And I'm pretty sure that I had a very high level of intuition back then. I have some memories of like kind of hearing and seeing some things, and then asking my mom about them. And my mom grew up Catholic and then was a nun for 8 years. And so through that experience, she became, I think, really focused on the religious elements of what is right and what is wrong. And what I was saying, seeing, displaying was pretty scary to her. And so I think there was a moment when I just decided to sort of like shut it down, just kind of shut down my intuition, and then, be more, I guess, acceptable or palatable, and still spent time in nature, but decided to sort of pivot a little bit and started studying my mom's counseling books. So I have images of myself at like 11 and 12 going through like personality assessments and interest inventories, and just kind of like fascinated about how people are, what they like, what they don't like, what their strengths and talents were. And I think that was sort of like that direct correlation of feeling like, well, it's not totally safe to be myself. So what is it like to be human, and how can I be human in the world? And so I honored that 12-year-old part of myself and eventually went to get my master's in counseling, which I'm very grateful that I did. And I spent a number of years, I think about 11 years in academia, where I got to study what was right with people, which is really sort of my favorite thing to do, is to work with what are your natural talents, your natural strengths, what lights you up. We talk about that flow state when you lose track of time. What are you doing and who are you with? So I got to do that for a while. And then I took a huge leap and decided to try therapy as a private practice therapist, working for a very large organization. There were about 45 of us therapists. And I tried everything. I just dove right in, and I was like, okay, I'm going to see people with anxiety, people with stress, people with family issues, and kids and adults. And I wanted to sort of try the whole gamut and to see what felt right and natural to me. And so over the past 7 years, I felt like, again, I was making progress, learning work, IFS therapy, ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, inner child healing, like really loving the work. But then I started noticing that a lot of my clients were not feeling fully integrated, not fully embodied. There was a lot of like operating out of the head. So there were a lot of pros and cons. This is good. This is right. And so we sort of just kept processing without resolution. And so that kind of set me on like, okay, something's missing here. And I think what I discovered was that the spirit or the energy portion of healing was missing. And I can say beautiful things about talk therapy all day. I love it. And I love my friends who are talk therapists. And also, I think adding in this component of energy healing and this component of the spirit, thinking of yourself as, if you're ready to, more than human, right? I think that has really accelerated the process of healing for the clients that have been brave enough to work with me and use energy healing in their modalities.
Beautiful. I mean, what a beautiful story. I mean, I could really resonate with that parent that was very Bible-based, religious-based, that, really kind of pushed me on a path that I kind of was resisting a little bit. So I'm glad you found your way, and look at how many people you are helping in your journey. So thank you for all the work that you do, not only for on yourself, but for others. So I love it. So we're here about the Reiki. When did Reiki come into your life? Did you find Reiki or did it find you?
Yeah, well, it tried to find me. I wound up getting on Etsy one day and I bought this beautiful piece of jewelry from a Reiki master. I had no idea what Reiki was at the time, but I was just so drawn to her energy and so drawn to the angelite crystal. And so I got it. And I think that sort of opened me up to this idea that maybe on my seeking journey of seeking other modalities to include with therapy, maybe I need to kind of look for spiritual teachers. And so there was a psychic fair in my town, and that was not something that I was advertising that I was going to do. I mean, I come from a pretty analytic background, and I just sort of decided to try it because I got this inner feeling, this inner sensation that just show up, right? And so I walk into this room and it's full of booths of people and vibrant energy. And I sort of wandered around a couple times. And then I came back to this one person, and she was a Reiki master and very intuitive psychic medium, Kathleen Sherman. She's great. And so I sat down with her, and that was the first time I felt Reiki. And I thought, oh, I'm home.
Aw.
Like it was just that returning to myself, that sensation of like, I'm in here, you know, and I've pushed you aside for a while, but now I'm ready. I'm ready to welcome you home. I'm welcome to take a new journey. And so I had a few more Reiki sessions with her and a couple of other Reiki practitioners because I really wanted to try a couple of different things before committing to anything.
Sure.
But then she had William Rand's The Healing Touch and taught Usui 1 through Master. So she took me on as an apprentice, and that process was about 2 years and really helped me grow and learn and try things.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you work with the Uzui energy, angelic Reiki, animal Reiki from the ICRT. As you've explored these different modalities, as you've been out and you are connecting with the energy, what are you hearing? What are some misconceptions that you hear about Reiki?
Well, the first one is that it doesn't work. And that's okay. Like if you're somebody who thinks that it's just all in my head that I'm feeling relaxed, then that's fine. You know, like I'm not here to convince you that Reiki is something that you need to try. Another one is that it can do harm. A lot of people are afraid that something bad will happen or something bad will happen to them in sessions.
Right.
So I use my natural sort of counseling skills, I guess, to just talk through their fears with them. And then again, it's totally your decision. If that doesn't feel right to you, then maybe it's not the time, or maybe it's not right for you at all. But the people that resonate with the energy, I can talk to them about how I feel when I'm giving and receiving Reiki. That connects to something in them, I'm pretty sure.
Beautiful. So as you've gone along, practiced and cultivated a relationship with energy, what has surprised you about Reiki?
I think I was surprised that it was a whole journey.
Yeah.
I really thought that it was just going to be, you know, like a separate modality that I used sometimes to help people who are working through trauma or who were extra stressed or extra anxious or who just, you know, couldn't sleep, things like that. But it actually shifted the whole healing environment. It shifted me and it shifted them. And so it took a completely, it was like walking into a different story.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. I know for me, and I'm sure Karen agrees too, it was life-changing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Completely. Yeah.
completely. I mean, you could probably look back like 5-10 years ago and it's like, wait, it's a totally different world. So yeah.
It is a totally different world, and my body feels different and my energy feels different, right? Like it just, everything has transformed, and gradually, not at a scary pace, right?
Sure.
The one that was right for me.
Right, right. I love it. That's why we call it a journey, right? A destination. So instead of that, yeah, you're always continuing to grow and evolve. So you had mentioned about a teacher that you had studied with. You were blessed to have this kind of guidance with for a number of years. So what are some qualities that you look for in a Reiki practitioner or energy healer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I look for somebody that has spent some time and had a number of experiences where they can actually hold like a safe field. I think that that's important to have had some sort of training where you're practicing, where you're living Reiki out in the world. The other thing I look for is somebody that honors my personal experience. So I had a recent Reiki session that I was really excited about. And this is a practitioner who's lovely, gave me a beautiful session with sound bowls, and I was feeling very relaxed. And then at the end of it, she started talking about things that I needed to be doing, things where I was off my path of alignment. It felt sort of like scolding a little bit about why I wasn't going this way and I was going that way, right? So, and maybe she was right. I know she was helping me in the way she felt was best at the time. And also there wasn't this checking in, like, does this resonate with you? What do you think about that? Right. And I think that's very important as healers to not position ourselves as the authority over someone's life experience
Right.
and to check in to see where they are.
Right. That makes sense. Earlier today, I saw a particular post about someone kind of almost bragging that they got a Reiki practitioner fired from a particular spa. And the people started commenting underneath it. And the reason why is the practitioner was insisting it had to be hands-on, and that client didn't want hands-on. And it got to the point that she got up and she went to the owner of the spa and said, I don't want this. And then the spa owner said, no more Reiki in my establishment. And the comments that were flowing in, like, hey, Reiki master here, we don't do things like that. You can do Reiki without touch and things like that, and honoring the person and setting boundaries and having those waivers and the information that asks those questions, like, are you good with touch? And so that you're making that client feel comfortable. So that's kind of really important with that, just kind of honoring what your body and what you need as well. Because how can you get relaxed and comfortable, right?
Wow. That's so interesting. I guess I also would say look for someone who does some kind of an intake, right? Like
Right, absolutely.
Like, here's what I'm hoping to experience and where I am.
Right, right. And I've had some people when I've talked to them in the community here, and they don't do waivers. And I'm like, and I'll ask them why, like, well, people just don't do that. And I'm like, but do you really want to be the first? Do you really want to cover yourself? You're running a business. Have those waivers, get those things signed. You never know. Like, oh, no one's going to bother it. We don't do that here. And I'm like, things are changing. Things are shifting. You might want to think about that. So, So as you are now, all the learning, all the doing, all the expanding that you're doing, what advice would you give someone who chooses to leave like what they're currently doing to have spiritual work as a profession?
Ooh, yeah. Well, first I would say awesome. Congratulations, because I do kind of think this is where we're going. We're moving into mind, body, and spirit balance in all of the work that we're going to be doing, from doctors to dentists, right? It's all going to be way more balanced. And I do think energy work is going to make such a huge impact in the future. So anyone who's thinking about it now is really sort of on the cusp of that wave, I think, because we're all going to eventually join up together and have our own way of doing it and work together and heal mind, bodies, and spirits in more efficient, effective ways than we ever have. So I would say try things, right? Talk to different kinds of practitioners, have different kinds of sessions. Don't think about it all intellectually, just try it. Because I think I tried to figure out the right way to become a Reiki practitioner for a really long time, and that wasted a lot of time when I could have just really connected with somebody, asked them how they worked, ensured that was a session that I wanted to try, and then try it, whether it was virtual or in person. And I would also say community, right? So the Reiki Business Collective has been great. I'm so excited that I'm a part of that. And try to find practitioners who are new like you so that you don't feel alone, and some seasoned practitioners too, so you can get a little bit more of that mentoring or that coaching vibe, and you can have that support to lean on so that like, this is normal, or maybe that's something that you should study XYZ.
Right. And, in the Healing Touch, William Rand always encourages you to get a Reiki buddy. Find your Reiki buddy.
Yeah.
So people really alone. But yes, the Reiki Business Collective is a great place to land as well. People on there are like forming groups, and you're connecting. Someone was starting a business and asked if we would do a trade for like a Google review. So there's lots of different opportunities on there that are growing and blooming out of that. And just with the Reiki Business Collective, talking to people, a lot of it's just lack of confidence, nerves. Like, why me? I'm afraid to take that one step. But then hearing stories of others that we were there too. You're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot of lack of confidence, anxiety, right, underneath there that had and Reiki help kind of clear that to allow us to kind of finally shine to our true authentic self.
Yeah.
So what books do you recommend?
Oh, I love books. I've been reading books my whole life. So I think some of my favorites, I really love for those beginners, The Empath's Guide to Healing with, oh shoot, I wrote it down. I love Lisa Campion's book about empaths. I work with a lot of empaths. They're just naturally drawn to me. And so I'm always telling them to look at Lisa Campion's book, because she really explains energy healing in an easy way. For people who are thinking about starting a business, the Reiki Business book really helped me a lot. Pam Allen LeBlanc. That one helped me really get it all down. So what are the practical points? And then how do I incorporate my heart wisdom, my own knowledge, my own life experience, right? It really blended all those things so well for me. So I love that book. I also love The Psychic Navigator by John Holland for people that are starting to kind of think, oh, maybe I'm intuitive. Maybe I have some clear seeing or some clear feeling. And there's some really lovely practical exercises there. And then, because I'm a therapist, I love mindfulness books. And some of my favorites are Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist monk who has since passed, but just has simple, beautiful ways of connecting with the world, connecting with your breath, easy mantras that help you calm your nervous system. And then for people that are going through trauma or recognizing that maybe their trauma was a little more complex than they originally thought, Pete Walker's Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving is excellent. And I think I've recommended that book about 100 times.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing the library, a friend. Yeah, beautiful. I just love hearing how people, just a beautiful collection of books in your journey that make, kind of create who you are, So I love hearing from all different kind of genres with that. So thank you for sharing. So what other modalities do you offer, or services, classes, events, trainings?
Yeah, so I was in a season where I was doing a lot of events on my own, and that felt really good for a while, but I think I'm more in a season now where I'm excited to connect with other practitioners and to put our energies together and to do events together. So I'm open to that. And as far as what I offer right now as part of my business, I'm really just focusing on a couple things. So I offer live virtual animal Reiki sessions, which I love. And because of my counseling background, I'm happy to kind of talk through things with animal caregivers and give them Reiki if they're open, no problem if not. And then I teach Usui 1 and 2. I teach Williams the Healing Touch. And I do it in a little bit longer process. So it's like a 4 to 8 week container where I get to know my students and I get to know their talents and then help them develop their intuition, their self-trust. So that's really fun. And then my grand experiment, which is my integrated therapy or clarity sessions. So that's where I'm blending the therapeutic techniques that I learned with Reiki and hypnotherapy and sound. And so we do what I call a spiritual intake. And then we work through that process of what is the one issue or the one core pattern that you're looking to shift right now. And then we build our intentions together, right? Intention setting for empowerment, for returning to yourself, so that you're not going to need me in the future. You're going to feel confident to live your life as the person that you're meant to be. So typically 4 to 8 sessions, loving that. And then I think that's, empowerment mentoring. I love empowerment mentoring for other therapists, helpers, and healers who feel burned out or who would like to incorporate spiritual work into their practices.
Beautiful. So where can we find you if we want to get in touch with you to book a session or take a training or take one of the many offerings that you have?
The best place is my website. So it's the number 6, rayhealingaltogether.com. And I offer free consultation phone sessions. So I love that because then we can sit down and talk together think about how we might work together. It takes the guesswork out of people who aren't sure maybe what offering they're looking for. And I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as @6rayhealing.
Beautiful. Do you offer in-person sessions?
I do offer in-person sessions in Kalamazoo and virtual sessions from anywhere over Zoom.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that ends the first part of our journey. I'm going to guide you over to Karen, who has questions for you from listeners and Reiki students. Karen, it's your turn.
Yay. So you've sort of touched a little bit on what you're doing to address this first question, but people want to know, how has working with energy changed how you work with your counseling clients?
Yeah, I think I was shocked at how much it changed, because I really did think it was going to be sort of this separate container. We're going to have a little Reiki, and then we're going to go back to the therapy session the way we always have. And that wasn't the case at all. The case instead was that I was less stressed. I was less burdened. I wasn't constantly seeking in my mind for the best route, the best modality, the best thing to say in sessions. It all just sort of flowed through me. And the clients themselves, I think, were way more willing to look at themselves honestly and clearly and without shame, which was hugely transformational, because I think a lot of clients do get a little bit defensive because it's scary to look at some of those things. It's scary to look at your habits. It's scary to look at your relationship patterns and to feel like you're doing something wrong, or you did something wrong, or you're broken in some way. And so that was like all totally gone. There was just this open vulnerability on my part and theirs that didn't feel forced. Everything was just very like smooth in the session. Sometimes I would just leave it running in the background and just have a therapy session, but it was completely different. It felt like we were actually making progress and moving in a direction. And if there was something coming up that needed addressing, I felt I had the words easily to say those things, to address them with kindness, with compassion. And I felt that they were also receptive to having the conversation. In fact, a couple of times I had to talk to clients about how we weren't making progress. And I had some Reiki running in the background because that was something I asked about, and they consented to doing that. And they were like, "You're right. We're not making progress. And I think I'm just here because I feel like I should be here because good people go to therapy." And so we were able to just have this lovely conversation about that, and just about how maybe it's time to go out into the world and practice your skills. And maybe that's okay.
Wow. Yeah. I think when you have Reiki, it just helps guide everything, no matter what you're doing. Like the lawyer that Pamela LeBlanc talked about in her book, that trained in Reiki, and because she was a family law practitioner, and
Yes.
so she wasn't doing Reiki and then law, just like you weren't doing therapy and then Reiki, but it just it helped with everything. Yeah, so this is an interesting question. So it says, as you hold space for others who are stressed, what is your go-to technique to help you reduce your own stress?
Well, my very long answer is that there is not just one, because I've been doing this for so long that I've developed sort of like this long menu of beautiful items that you can choose from. And now I get to choose from them. So if I have more time, I always am drawn to animals or the forest. That's just kind of always been my way to relax and to connect with nature and to feel no pressure, to release any energy that I needed to from the session. I love music. I love sound. So maybe I'll bang my gong or my singing bowls or dance poorly around my office and sing poorly too. And what else? Palo Santo I love doing. I'll do some, quantum healing techniques using Reiki. Self-Reiki is so important for me. I do it at least once a day, but lots of times I'll do it 3 times, and I'll just do like little mini sessions for myself, just to kind of clear myself and clear the room and ground myself again. Because I think it's easy to kind of move out of your body into your mind and walk around in your head. I think a lot of humans do that. We're encouraged to do that, to live in our minds.
I love that expression, walk around in your head. Yeah.
Just totally, I'm just a head. Like you could cut my body off, right? And then I love tarot and oracle card readings. So sometimes I'll just play with my cards.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And you state your intention is for short-term and alignment-based care. Why is it so important for your clients to build trust in themselves?
I think everyone deserves the right to know who they are and what they truly need, without somebody else trying to impose their ideas or their projections on them, right? And so one of the things that I've noticed in our society is that a lot of systems and a lot of authorities like to tell us what we should be doing and should not be doing. And some of those rules are for our own benefit. And sometimes it's just because we think we know better. And I never want to feel that way. I've been the kind of person that had a very authoritative father and grew up with that sort of like restriction of you're doing it wrong, or you need to be like this, and this is the career you should have, and this is who you should be, and this is what you should look like. And I think society echoes that too. I don't think it was, just my father. And so it's so important to me that I am collaborating with my clients, in that instead of them seeking information outside of themselves, trying to get validation or approval somewhere else, that they know how to tune in and listen. And when they know how to tune in and listen, then the possibilities are endless, and they will find what works for them. They will find what they love. They will enjoy their lives more, and they won't need me anymore, which feels good to say because I want to have relationships where we're both equals.
Yeah, empowering them. That's beautiful. That's really important. Okay. That's all I have.
As you were talking, is there anything that you have forgotten or something what you want to share? The floor is yours.
I just think if you wonder if you have some intuitive skills, if you feel like maybe you're feeling a little bit burnt out, if you feel like there's something else out there and you're curious to explore it, just give Reiki a try, right? Look up the practitioner, have a conversation. What's your training like? What are your sessions like? And just see if it lights you up, because it's really changed my life.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Well, thank you, Ren, for joining me on this Reiki journey. Before I let you go, you want to tell listeners one more time where they can find you?
Yes. So my website is the number 6 rayhealing.com.
Beautiful. And my wonderful mentor, Karen, let everybody know how to get in touch with you.
You can find me at www.reiki-institute.com.
All right. Thank you both for being a part of this Ready, Set, Reiki journey. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules. So.
Thank you so much.
All right, my beautiful listeners, if you want your question featured on Ready, Set, Reiki, reach out, www.readysetreiki.com, or check me out on social media. Send me a question. It can be on and be asked to one of the guests. So I'm Tracy C. Wright, and this is Ready, Set,